All right, hi everyone. Welcome. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. We'll get started in a minute here. Uh, Welcome to everyone who's in the Zoom room. So, how are the simulations and everything going? I just want to check in again. There's 7 of us. Uh, let's just give folks a minute. Maybe they're on their way. I've heard the simulations have some things that are a little different from like how we're doing things. If there are 2 ways to do things in class, the simulation might be thinking of that those steps in a really different way. And so, if you notice anything that you think it'd be helpful to like point out the difference on, if you've seen it in the simulation and like it's a certain kind of syntax or something, just chime in if you want, and that would be super useful, like if you've seen it before and aren't sure. So and I'll try to point stuff out too. Yeah, so there's one thing already that you know, the colon between the field name and the calculation, like, you know, the expression. I've been putting a space there, but it turns out you don't actually have to. So today, maybe try to remind me, and I'll let's do it without the space and do an experiment and see if things come out, you know, the same or still work.
Actually, I tried with the space and it worked fine.
Whoa, and it worked fine. Okay, cool, cool. Okay, good. So let's not let it something like a little space ruin our day or anything like that.
Yeah, one more thing I noticed is for the criteria, if it's a text, we put the quotation marks, and the simulation doesn't care about quotation marks either.
Oh, cool, cool. Yeah, probably easiest is just to type stuff in without quotation marks at first, and then, I mean, one reasonable strategy, and then if Access puts them in, because it's a text field, then that's awesome. But if not, then we wanted to like accidentally put them in. Yeah, so that could be a really good piece of advice. Thanks, Manisha. Anything else we want to share about our experiences with the simulations that might be useful for other folks? Is they're making their way through? Yes, that is. Thanks, Manisha. Yeah, do you want to tell us about the SI sessions? That'd be perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, so hello everyone. Today's SI session would be at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. at ASC Zoom Hub as well as in person. And then the drop-in tutoring hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. as well as in the morning, 11 to 1:30 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then there are added drop-in tutoring hours on Mondays and Tuesdays from 10 to 11 a.m. Thank you.
Nice.
Awesome. Thanks, Manisha. So if everyone
So here we go. All right, here we go. So I'll share my screen here. And from Canvas, let's go ahead and just get our starter file. It's going to be in the files section, and it's the one that we were working on last time. I try to save stuff, but actually I messed up last time, and I turned off the classroom computer. So it's redone, but I tried to get it back to the place where we were. So it's going to be, if you go to the file section and search for AO3, then the file name is AO3_real estate day2.accdb. It's this one here. Yeah, and then I'll just go ahead and click the file name and click the download link. And I'll go ahead and open OneNote. I'm just on my computer here just to take a little note. No, we don't need OneNote for this. Okay. Or I'll just write it in Zoom. Let's see here. So or I'll pull up Notepad. Or how about this word? Okay, so I just want to remind us, we are hoping to identify a house that we can afford to buy and repair for resale. We're examining the possibility of buying and repairing properties that owners want to sell after a storm damaged many of the houses in the area. Where we're looking with a friend in the real estate market. And so all of these houses have been put on the market, and we've obtained a database with listings of properties from the storm affected areas with estimated repair costs based on insurance estimates. We ran a couple queries and found out that there were 64 records to start with, but only 44 of them, when we changed the criteria, hadn't been sold. So like they were available for purchase, 44 of them. And we calculated repairs per square foot. We did some other calculations with our calculated fields. And we started to use the builder. And today we're gonna try and find out what our payment would be if we were going to take out a 30-year loan with 12 payments per year. At 4.5%. Annual interest rate with 25% down, meaning that we'll have to finance 75% of the price. So that's our setup here. Any questions about that? All right. So we're going to be using a built-in function with the builder. And let's go ahead and, I mean, it's up to us, but we can even try a different way to open our file today. So if you just go to the File Explorer or the Finder, and then to your Downloads folder, unless you've set up, some other place for the downloads to go, and then just click AO3 Real Estate Day 2.accdb from the Downloads folder. And then if you see this option at the top with the button that says Enable Content, go ahead and just click that. And here, let's go ahead and copy the repairs per square foot formatted query. Just by right-clicking it and selecting copy, and then pasting it into the navigation bar. And let's save it as payment calculations. And just click OK. And let's open the query in design view. So one way to do that is just to right-click the query name and then select design view. But there are other good ways too. And let's go ahead and, let's see. Repairs per square foot formatted. Okay, I saved it. Okay. All right. Okay, and now we better open payment calculations. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. That's not good. Okay, so payment calculations here. Oh, you know what? I copied the wrong one. I think, let me try this again. Sorry. Firing at half cylinders today. So, okay. We're supposed to copy the repairs per square foot formatted query. Go ahead and copy that. I just want to look at it first. Okay, all right. And then let's go ahead and paste it in here. To the navigation pane and call it payment calculations. Oh, whoops. And we've already got one named that, so I'll click no and I'll close this. Okay, I think it worked. I think I'm just confused. But let me just try this step again. So I'll delete payment calculations from before. Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure I said it right. So copy the repairs per square foot formatted query. Save it as payment calculations. And open it in design view. All right. And now under the estimated repairs column, we only want to look at listings where the estimated cost of repairs is less than $120,000. So we better add that to our list of things here. So just a little side note, we only want to look at listings where the estimated cost of repairs is less than a certain amount, and that amount is $120,000 for the cost of repairs. All right, so under estimated repairs, how can we translate that into access? Anyone? Well, I guess we could run the query now and see what it looks like. So we've got our fields, first name, last name, estimated repair. Why did that square feet sold, repairs per bedroom, repairs per room. But some of the estimated repairs are out, outside our range. So how do we put a restriction on the results set so that we're only looking at listings where the estimated cost of repairs is less than $120,000?
I guess we can put the criteria for estimated repairs.
All right, sounds good. Yeah. How should we represent? So that's exactly the thing to do. And how should we represent our criteria here? Is it just $12,000, or do we need?
Need to put less than in front of it, do you?
Perfect. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now let's run it again and verify. So that looks like it. Looks like it worked. The estimated repairs are all less than that maximum, and so I think we're within our range. And now there are 13 results that meet our criteria. So a reasonable question here would be, what's the payment? If we were to purchase these. And one thing to point out is the actual price, like, of the house isn't one of these columns. So that I thought was kind of just bear mentioning. But we are going to be using the price in our formula. So let's go ahead and see how to use the PMT function to do our calculations and get our monthly payments, all calculated for these different properties. Okay. So in the design view of the query, I'll go ahead and I'll expand these columns, but I'm going to want to go to the first empty column. So in the first empty column, just go ahead and click in there, and with your cursor in the first empty column, click Builder. And then double click Functions under the expression elements text here, that label, and then you could double click it, but you could also expand it just by clicking the plus sign next to the menu item. So either way is fine. And then click built-in functions. And then click financial under expression categories. And then double click payment. Type payment before the PMT function. So if you just put your cursor at the very beginning of the the stuff in the expression builder, let's assign a name here to this calculated field, which is going to be just called payment. So just type in payment and then a colon right before the PMT function. And the space here is optional, so I'll leave it out here just to get a little variety and see the different approaches. And now Access has given us these arguments to fill in, and you can click each one and then just start typing it in. So we want to translate our like parameters for the loan into the payment function. So who wants to get us started? It's a 30-year loan, 12 payments per year. So yeah, I guess we could put in any of them first. The last two arguments are just going to be 0, but yeah, which one? Does anyone want to start with one and tell me what to put in? They're a little different from what's up here. Just a hint.
So the first one, rate, is that 4.5? So percent, the APR rate.
Sounds good. And do you mind if we put it in as 0.045?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. And that's sounding really good. And that was the annual rate. So, and we're making monthly payments. So there's one more thing to do for the rate argument. What is it? Does anyone remember? To go from the annual rate to the monthly, the periodic rate?
Oh, is it? Divide by 12?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then number of periods is going to be, well, for a 30-year loan making monthly payments, what would that argument be here? Number of periods here. Or we could skip to the present value one.
Is the number of periods 360? I don't know.
Yes, perfect. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, 360 because 30 years times 12 payments per year exactly would equal 360 payments. Yeah, sounds like a lot. When we put it in that way. And how about the present value? So we know we want to pay or like we know we're going to have to finance 75% of a certain field, and it's kind of arbitrary what the field is named, but it's named list price. So we want to set the present value to 75% of the list price. Anyone want to suggest an idea for how to put that in here? we've got some options. There are a bunch of good ways.
Would you type list price, as in capital L list, no space price?
Uh-huh.
Did you type the square brackets as well?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And then so that's right. Yeah, so the field name is list price, and yeah, throw some square brackets to surround it, and then to make the argument 75% of the list price. How do we translate that last part, or the 75% of part?
Is it multiplied by 0.75?
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. Yeah. And that could go, yeah, before the list price, you could put the leading zero before the decimal. But basically, as long as you have list price in there, as the field name being multiplied by 0.75, and the list price is in the square brackets, then yeah, exactly. You're totally all set. And the last two arguments, let's just make 0 here, and our formula is gonna be yeah, this right here. Payment calculated field is going to be the PMT function with the arguments, 0.045 divided by 12 for the periodic rate, 360 for the number of payments or payment periods, 0.75 times list price for the loan amount, and 0 for the last two arguments. This stuff's going to come out negative, so if I click OK and then we go to run the query, the payment field is going to come out negative. Oh, and it's not formatted as currency. So just to get those changes made here, if we go into design view, can someone think of a way, and there are a bunch of good ways to make the payments come out positive, like more how we would expect it intuitively? Or here's another option, or can someone tell us how to change this field to currency? So any of those two like tweaks,
So do we need to put a negative symbol in at the front of the formula or somewhere in there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure where I would put it, but I just know there needs to be a negative in there somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. This would be a perfect one to if anyone wants to experiment with different like places to put the negative and see if you get the same answer. Let us know like what you tried if it comes out. So I'm gonna put the negative right before the list price in square brackets. So right before list price in square brackets, let's insert a negative. And while we're at it, let's go to the property sheet, and we want to format this one as currency. Yeah, so in the property sheet, just change the format to currency. And then, yeah, let's run this. Okay, looks good. Looks good. All right. Thanks, everyone. Any questions about that? Did anyone put the negative in an interesting place and it worked or didn't work, but you learned something?
Yeah, mine's coming up as undefined function, so I must have something wrong in there. Undefined function PMT in expression. but I can't share my screen, unfortunately, because it's on a different computer. So
No worries. Okay, yeah. So the best place is right outside the list price field name.
okay.
But
I did whereabouts it just in front of the square bracket.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I tried that, but it hasn't. But I've put the times by 0.75 afterwards. So I wonder if that makes a difference.
Like this.
Yeah, and then that didn't work for me. But I don't. Hang on. I think I might have. No, everything else looks the same. 360. Oh, PMT is in square brackets on mine. Looking at it, that's not right, is it?
Good call. Yes. Yeah. The formula names don't have to go in square brackets.
Okay, so if I run it now. Oh, okay, that worked. For some reason I had that in square brackets. Thank you.
Oh no. Of course. Yeah. Good. I'm glad that worked out. Cool. So in our next exercise, continuing on, we want to examine some overall statistics for the damaged homes, such as the average estimated repairs and the number of houses that have been sold. And we'll also look for the realtor agency that has an average estimated repair within our desired range of less than $120,000. Let's add aggregate functions to one of our data sheets. It's going to be this one, payment calculations. And let's put it in design view first. And what we don't have is the listing ID field. So let's go ahead and add that to our query from the listings table. Just double click, or I found out you can actually drag the listing ID to the first empty column. I think that was Manisha's trick. You can double click the, oh, I guess that's just on mine. Never mind. I thought I found something cool yesterday where you could double click the edges of these to resize them, but I don't think it works on this version. Okay. So anyway, we've added the listing ID field to our query. And now let's go ahead and run the query again. And this is super important. So it's different if you click totals from the home tab in datasheet view versus, I'm just going to switch to design view for a second just to show everyone. There's this totals button over in the show hide group in design view, and it's in the design tab or query design tab, you might see it as. So for us now, let's use both actually. But let's start with the one just from datasheet view in the home tab. So let's calculate some aggregate totals just by clicking the totals button from the records group. And now there's this ready to be entered, totals row. And so below estimated repairs, just click the total row and select here from the drop-down menu, the buttons on the left, but select average. And there we have the average estimated repairs for the records, that are in here for those 13 records. If how I just had to click in here to see that there were 13 records and do some clicking around. Well, under listing ID, if we change the total row to count, then that'll just simply count the records in there. So now we can see there are 13. And one more thing to do here, let's go ahead and click below repairs per square feet, and let's take the average. Whoops, we don't have repairs per square feet. That's okay. Let's calculate it and then take the average. Okay, so in payment calculations, let's go ahead and go to design view. And now one of our columns should be payment per square feet. So let's go ahead and calculate that again. Oh, repairs per square feet, I mean. Oh, because we changed ours to repairs per room. Oh, and repairs per bedroom. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, let's get back in our repairs per square foot calculated field. So just a reminder, it's just the field name per square foot, capital R, capital P, and then just SQFT with the S and the F are capitalized. And then a colon, and then the calculation, which we knew was repairs, or estimated repairs, but the cost of the repairs, whoops, divided by the square feet. So I'll try it in the expression builder. Repairs per square foot. I open the expression builder. And now let's go under the tables, expanding the menu items to see the listings so we can get the estimated repairs. Divided by the square feet. But we don't want all this, the expression part or the reference to the table name. So I'll just delete the listings exclamation point prefix. The space is optional here. And then we're going to divide it by what? Yeah, for repairs per square foot. I think I might have given it away. So by square feet, so you can just go ahead and delete this prefix here as well. Listings exclamation point, you can delete that prefix. All right, and then let's click OK, and here's our formula in there. I'll go ahead and run the query again. We can expand the column. Oh, we didn't format it as currency, so I'll go ahead and go back into design view. And in the property sheet, if it's not open, just go ahead and open it and change the format to to currency. And while we're at it, let's put this like kind of next to the other columns that are similar. So repairs per square foot, let's make it the first of our like repairs per results. So repairs per square foot, and then repairs per bedroom, and then repairs per room. So all this just to run the query, and then now who can tell us how to find the average repairs per square foot?
So are you meaning in the totals row at the bottom of the column of repairs per square feet, you select the down arrow and then you wanted to average, did you say? Sorry.
Exactly, yeah.
And select average.
Nice, yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, nice. So the average repairs per square foot, it's like $57.50. All right, so go ahead and save and close the query. Okay, so we've closed the payment calculations query. All the access objects are closed right now. And last up, we want to create a totals query with grouping and conditions. So let's start by creating a new query in design view, but I just want to tell everyone where we're going with this so we can, keep it in our minds. We're gonna want to only show the sold houses. Basically, okay, we're gonna want like a list of all of the like the real estate companies. And for each of the real estate companies, we're gonna want to see like what the average estimated repairs is, so we can see if there's one like kind of more in our price range, one company that tends to have average repairs that, more in our price range. So that's kind of the exercise behind this query. And we're also going to want to see how long each of those like different real estate companies have had their listings on the market on average. So we'll be like doing some calendar math as well in Access. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's create a query in Design View. So we just click the Create tab and then Query Design. Let's add the listings table and the just the listings table, I guess. All right, so we'll add the listings table. And here's our long list of listings. Okay. Are all the fields in the listings table? I mean, add the estimated repairs and sold fields from the listings table to the grid. And now from here, so, this is just like a basic query that we're starting from scratch. From here, let's click totals in the show hide group. And that's in the design tab when you're in design view. And then now here's a total row that has shown up in the grid down below. Click the totals in the show hide, group on the design tab. We already did that. Under estimated repairs, click group by. Click that arrow and then select average. So we want the average estimated repairs, and then under sold, click group by and change that to where. So we only want to take the average where the houses were in fact sold. So go ahead and under, whoops, that's the wrong place.
Can I just ask
Yeah.
a question? How did you get the total line in there? Sorry, I only have field on the bottom there. I only have field table. Oh, okay. You click that. Sorry, I missed that step. Thank you.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad it's up there. Good. So you see, yeah, yeah, good. So hopefully, anyone else have questions? Getting this set up or seeing the total row or anything like that? Okay, cool. It's very tricky because it's like the same icon, like the Sigma, and like it's like I feel like there's at least two. I think there's like three places where it pops up, and it means different things each time. Okay, so yes, can be confusing. All right, so we want to get that total row in there, and let's find the average estimated repairs, but only for the listings where they were in fact sold. So just once you change the total row to where under sold, just type in yes for criteria. And while we're at it, let's change the format of estimated repairs into currency. So just with your cursor anywhere in the estimated repairs column, go ahead and if the property sheet isn't open, just click property sheet at the top to pull it up, and then that should let you select the format as currency. All right, now let's run the query. And the results show the overall average repairs per houses that have been sold. So we can go ahead and save this query as overall average repairs. Go ahead and right click the query name and then type in the name for it, overall average repairs. Okay, and then just click OK here. And now let's close the query, but the answer to our question, what was the average estimated repair cost for all the sold properties, is $129,724.80. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and save and close this. Okay, and now let's create a new query in design view, and this time let's add the list and listings table. So new query in design view, that's from the create tab, and then query design. And then let's add the listings and lists tables. And then I'll click close here. I'm gonna just expand the tables to see all the fields. And now in our new query in design view, let's add the name of list field. Here it is from the list table. And that was like, either, like Zillow or Redfin or whatever, but whatever our names of the different lists were, the real estate postings. And we wanted to know, okay, for each of those, what was the, well, actually, let's just get in all of our fields. Let's put in our listing ID field. Maybe we're gonna take the count or something for each of the lists. Let's also put in the sold fields. So we might be setting, maybe we're just looking at the sold or unsold properties. We are just looking at the sold properties. So kind of a hint of what's to come there. So for all the sold properties, for each of the different, real estate lists, we're going to want to know the average estimated repairs. So let's get the estimated repairs in there. And I think that's it. I'm just going to make a change here that is to move the estimated repairs column between name of list and listing ID. So that the columns, the order goes name of list, estimated repairs, listing ID, and sold. So those fields in that order. And now click on totals in the design tab. And we want to change the estimated repairs, total row to average. And the listing ID totals row, let's change that to count. And the criteria for the sold field, so we only want to calculate the average where the sold field equals yes. So let's change total under sold to where and criteria to yes. And there's, well, actually, I think, let's just see here. Totals, okay, change the total row for estimated repairs to average, the total row for listing ID to count, and the total row for sold to where. And yes, okay, type yes for the criteria for sold. Change the format for the estimated repairs to currency. So just with your cursor in the estimated repairs field in the grid, just open the property sheet and select currency. Just open the property sheet. If it's not open already, and then change the format to currency. And change the caption of listing ID. So now I'm going to have to click here in the listing ID field, change its caption to number sold. All right. So let's run the query. Anyone need a minute to get this in there before we do that? All right, cool. Well, let's see. I'm excited to see the results. So here is the result set for our query. Lighthouse has an average estimated repairs under $120,000 for its damaged properties. And those were the ones that have been sold already. And it turns out there were two of them. The Lighthouse is sold. And so here's their average. All right, so let's go ahead and save this query as results by list. Oops, capital R, capital L, and there are spaces, but the B is lowercase. And we're going to leave this query open, actually, because we've been copying and pasting queries a lot lately. But what if we did our different kind of tip or trick, which is to just go to save as, like if you're working on something and you're going to be making changes, but you don't want to get rid of all the stuff you've been doing, so you can kind of branch out and click save as, and basically it has the same effect of making a copy and giving that copy a different name. So let's go file, save as. You may not have seen me click file up here, sorry, and then save as. And then save object as. So instead of, all these options to save database or even a backup database, let's go to save object as, and then just click save as. And let's save it as results by list revised. Yeah, so capital R, capital L, and then capital R and revised as well. And go ahead and click OK. Here's our query results by list revised. Our old one, results by list, it's still in there, but we're looking at results by list, revised. And switch to datasheet view if you're not already in datasheet view for results by list revised. And from here, click totals in the records group and change the total to sum for the number sold. All right, so altogether these different companies or lists account for 20 sales. All right. So let's go ahead and switch to design view. And let's say that we wanted to calculate the average length that each of the properties has been on the market, or for the different lists. So let's go ahead and go back into design view, and let's add a calculated field in the first blank column. Let's go ahead and type in days listed, just capital D, capital L, and then colon to separate the field name from the calculation. And here, let's actually do the real calculation. So we have this date listed field, so we can use that. And the days listed is going to be, well, I should probably just do it the way that the instructions say to, but it's kind of a weird way that they do it. I'm not sure I totally believe this is the best way, but okay, if you double click date listed, whoops. Okay, let's go to the builder. Days listed, if we put in an expression by going into the tables and the fields here, and then into listings table, and then finding date listed. The formula that I have here is saying to take date listed and subtract a certain day in April. So it's saying to subtract April 1st, 2016. And remember, we have to put the dates in hashtags. And then I'll just click OK here. I'll expand the column. Let's change the total row to average. And let's format the field as fixed with 0 decimal places, meaning if you have the column selected in design view and then you open the property sheet, go over to the property sheet, and for days listed, let's change the format to fixed. So here's what the the data will look like. No commas, and out to a certain number of decimal places. But let's run this and see. I didn't see a place to put in the decimal places. And I'm used to, oh, okay. Okay, well, let's just run the query and see. Okay, so kind of weird to see the averages as like half days and thirds of a day and stuff, but that's okay. You know, down to the 8 hours. Okay, but anyway, so here's our name of list, average of the estimated repairs, the number sold and the days listed. On mine, there's a way to set the decimal places, like right here. Oh, there it is, decimal places. Okay, let's change it to 0. All right, and let's run the query again. So maybe Access just needed a little time to process what we were doing. Okay. All right, and here's our days listed. So that's yeah, that's better, much better. All right. Change the total row for days listed to average. Oh. Oh, right. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I'm going to change this back to none. That was supposed to be for when we were in design view, and we changed to average here. So these are the average days listed for each of the different lists. It's not really the actual best way to do it, though. I mean, to actually find how long it's been, we would just put in today's date minus the date listed, and then that would tell us how long it's been listed. But we would need to change the sold field to no. You know, if we were just looking at the unsold ones to see how long they've been on there on the market. So I don't want to confuse anyone or get in, you know, engage too much with the details. Okay, so I'll go ahead and just kind of leave it as it is in the instructions. So I'll just go ahead and close this query, and then I'll click no to save the changes, and then okay, here we go. Oh, whoops, I guess I lost some changes. Okay, name of list, repair sold.
Could I just ask a question? What is the relevance of typing 4/1/2016? Is that a particular? Is that supposed to be today's date, or is? I'm not quite sure what that is in the scenario.
Well, I'm not sure either.
I'm confused by that. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't quite work out what date that's supposed to be.
Yeah, this is super weird. Yes, because the actual way to do it, like for the sold houses would just be to take the date sold minus the date listed. And for the unsold houses, it would just be, yeah, take today's date minus the date listed.
Yes.
So here we're doing the sold houses. And so you have days listed. It should really just be, yeah, today's date minus the listing date. So let's
Okay.
try that and see what happens. Yeah. 5/11/2022 minus date listed in the square brackets here. Okay, there we go. And that would be for the unsold houses. So we should probably change the sold field to no. But for the sold houses, yeah, if we were just looking at the sold houses, yeah, we would want to subtract. We'd go date sold minus date listed. Okay. But here, yeah, let's take today's date, find the difference, of days between when it was listed and today. So that's how long it's been on the market, and that's for an unsold properties. So then if we click run, oh, whoops, I forgot to group by. So this is what happens when you don't click group by. We're seeing like individual results. Like each record is a listing, but actually we wanted to calculate the average days listed by the name of list. Okay, so I didn't change average. I didn't change this to average, so it was left as group by. So that means anytime there was a new date listed, it would get its own record. But really, we don't want to exactly do that. So let's go ahead and change this to average, and then now we're seeing the days listed for the different lists, the different real estate lists. And I forgot to format this as a fix with 0 decimal places. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Yeah, I almost think April 1st, 2016, maybe it's like a trick that the makers of this were using to like do some fancy math or something, because the order is reversed. So that's what's weird to be date listed minus the date, and then the date's kind of arbitrary. So it really should be the date minus the date listed, and we should probably use today's date. So I don't know, it's almost like some kind of weird mirror symmetry going on or something that I don't really understand. Okay, but I like this better, making it real. So, okay, days listed, we can see for the different listings, and just to remind ourselves, okay, these are for the unsold properties that we're looking at. So actually, looking at this, I would kind of think for the unsold ones, Trillo is the best list because they have a listing that's in our price range, below $120,000. But when we looked at the sold houses, it was Lighthouse that had the average estimated repairs in our price range. So, but we can't buy those. We can only buy the ones that haven't been sold yet. So, looks like Trillo is looking kind of good. Who has the longest time listed? Yeah, like on average, whose houses, which lists houses sit there the longest? I guess we could sort the dates listed, or just a small list. It looks like this first one.
Yeah, so Albion.
Albion. Nice. And which of the listings has the lowest average repair amount? I think it's gonna be, yeah, it is Trillo. Okay. All right. So poking around, answering some questions. This is where the simulation ends. But if you want, you could go into these these queries and add more fields. You could go into payment calculations and for listing ID. Just some ideas for extensions. You could go into listing ID, and it'd be cool to find out the actual like address and stuff. Like, hey, where is this house going to be? What neighborhood and all of that stuff. So you could poke around with that and add two tables and um, fields, let's get the address here in our payment calculations, and whether it's beachfront, whether it has pilings, the garage, the county. We already set the sold field to no, so we don't really have to put that in there, but we could. And you could also hide fields too if you wanted. Like if we knew, okay, all the listings are going to be unsold, then we could deselect the show field, and then just know in our minds that we're only looking at unsold properties. Okay, so a criteria can still apply even if you don't show the field. And here, kind of on the other side now, certain facts do still, are still true for a record, even if we didn't show the columns. So here we can add more columns and find out, okay, for these different listings, what's their address, what's like the amenities situation, or not, or like what was the like the particulars about the house, and then the county it's in. Which all of these, I actually, does anyone know where these are? Cape May, Ocean, and Atlantic City. I think we've been, planning for the next season of Jersey Shore, because that's where all these houses are. So we're buying a damaged property on the Jersey Shore. And a cool extension would be to actually go through and like and try to pick one. We could even add the company, so we know who to call if we're interested. Could really go to town with big sets of data using Access. Okay, so I should probably stop talking now and just ask, any questions, any and any one want to see or try anything else, like experiments. Anything from the simulations?
search smallest to largest for repairs per square feet or sort, I mean. All right. Yeah, any questions, anyone?
So I just wanted to check. So it's my understanding that chapter 3 simulations don't need to be until the end of next week. So is there any more to cover in class on chapter 3, or will we be working on the simulations?
I wanted to show a video that's like would take up Monday and maybe a little of Wednesday, and then leave most of Wednesday, or perhaps all of Wednesday as a lab time.
Okay.
But there is one more chapter 3 video. Yeah, so that's what's ahead for chapter 3.
Okay. I wasn't sure whether to plan to try and do the simulations in class or whether to do them separately. So that helps. Thank you.
Oh, totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so Wednesday will be a good day to work on those, and yeah, we can share screens and answer any questions, or go into breakout rooms, anything like that. Yeah, that works. Or yeah, talk through anything that comes up in the simulation. All right, so yeah, happy to do that. Looking forward to it. Well, was there other stuff we should talk about before we head out for today? Did anyone find a house in here that looks like a good possibility? This is interesting. There's a bunch of repeat addresses in our payment calculations table. So we should probably like group by address. Oh yeah, I don't have the set to totals, do I? Yep. All right, so you can poke around with this more. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll see everyone on Monday of next week. Have a good weekend. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good weekend. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.